Here in Nigeria, commemorations are continuing to mark the second anniversary of the ENDSARS movement in remembrance of those who were killed during a peaceful anti-police brutality protest on October the 20th, 2020. So far, it has been relatively quiet in Lagos, the epicenter of those protests 2 years ago, save for isolated incidences of police using tear gas to disperse those who attempted to converge on the scene of the protest. Arise correspondent Obadioye is again standing by to bring us up to date on what has happened thus far. Oba, thanks so much for joining us on Newsday yet again. What's the latest? Give us an idea of what's happening where you are.
Yes, a moment ago we left the Lekki toll gate where we had the commemorative march by the protesters there, and after that march some of them came to this venue somewhere in Oniru on the Victoria Island where they're having a symposium. You can see the program is ongoing right behind me. We've had victims of SARS brutality coming here to share their stories. We've had people who have lost relatives to SARS brutality coming here to share how they feel and everything that had to do with SARS. A number of youth are here, driving home that their pain and trying to recollect what really went down 2 years ago in Lekki and in other parts of Nigeria. So it's still part of the commemoration, the second year commemoration of the ENDSARS protest. And like I told you earlier this morning at the toll gate, the police had to, resort to the use of tear gas, water canisters and the rest of them to disperse the peaceful protesters who had come there to march this morning. And in the process, some journalists were equally harassed, including myself and my cameraman, that's Jide. He was harassed by the policemen right there at the Lekki toll gate, and he was even threatened that they were going to shoot him. One of them came to me, harassing me, shouting me down, wanting me not to report what really transpired on that scene. But so far so good. We've been trying to tell the world what is really happening there. I saw a colleague of mine from the Guardian newspaper who was also brutalized, and he was bleeding in one of his in his foot, and he had to seek minor medical attention for the treatment of that bleeding there. So far it's been peaceful in Lagos, except for when the police resorted to the use of tear gas to disperse the peaceful protesters. So after that, some of the youth moved there, some moved elsewhere to continue the commemoration, of ENDSARS, which happened 2 years ago. Here we are having hashtag ENDSARS Memorial 2.0, where, like I told you, some people are here who have been victims of SARS brutality, sharing their story. One of the leaders, of these people, Ike Bishop Okonkwo, is here, right here with me, and he will be sharing, what influenced the decision to come right here after leaving Lekki. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
So tell us about this program.
This is ENDSARS Memorial 2.0 that we are holding at Havila Center. We and my friends, Lawrence, Dabira, and some other people, we come together and we felt that it was needful for us to remember these people beyond protesting at the Lekki toll gate, because we were there. Like, even on the day we were shot, I and Dabira were there on the stage, and we felt the brutality, and we must remember those that died. People died. We cannot say people did not die. People died, and even the people that the Lagos State government, even the panel the Lagos State government set up, indicted them and said that people died. So we must make it. It must be a story. It must be a story that should be told. And we said, as young people, we must come and get closure. You see, we were there, we were harassed, they shot out tear gas, we tried to pressure the government. Why are you using that tear gas? This is a systemic problem. Police issue has always been a systemic problem, in the sense that, they keep doing the same thing they do over and over again. Protesting is the right of individuals. You don't need to shoot. You come with live tear gas and all this thing. It was very wrong. But as you do, are trying to achieve closure, just like my colleague Dabira and Lawrence have said, we must achieve closure and even other people, Macaroni, saying these people that we lost, we must remember them. We must do the right thing to put their names on the sands of time.
Yes, it's been 2 years exactly since the ENDSARS, that very pathetic incident happened at the Lekki toll gate. Would you say that the mission of the protesters, the objective of that protest, have been achieved?
To some extent, and that's why we keep coming out. To some extent it has been, but to some extent it has not been. And the young people are already making a statement. But first of all, you can see a lot of young people went out to register and get their PVCs, because they want to make a statement. And the awareness that the ENDSARS has created is building a new crop of leaders. Leaders are emerging from different places in Abuja, in Lagos, and other part of the country. So to some extent it has achieved a result, because there's awareness, a lot of awareness among the youth to participate now is high. It's no longer youth being indifferent and staying by the corner. So, but we still have the systemic problem of police brutality still on. We still have the systemic problem of police still harassing people still on. The police have not always also been psychologically evaluated to start doing the right thing. The fact you're a police officer and you're wearing your uniform doesn't mean you're above the law. You must follow the rules of engagement. So, but when they begin to feel that they are above the law, that's when they take laws into their hands. Like the Commissioner of Police, I said, he did not instruct them to shoot tear gas or do, but they were doing it. Yes. So why?
Yes, we were there ourselves, and then we saw some of these things. Thank you so very much, Bishop Okonkwo. So we are still very much here in Oniru area of Lekki, where the ENDSARS Symposium 2.0 is taking place, and you just listened to one of the organizers of this event telling us that to some to a certain extent, the objectives of that protest have been achieved. I have another leader here, a female, the popular Dabira. She's here with me. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, we are here, seeing ENDSARS Memorial 2.0. From the stories that some of the attendees here have shared, what are the the major takeaways for you? What can you deduct from them?
Okay, the major takeaway and the feedbacks that I've been getting is protest is a way to agitate, but it is not an ending factor to solve a problem. There will be protests. There has to also be a closure of where there's reconciliation, where the people and the government must reach an understanding. In countries, people protest. Protesting is not a crime. But how did we get here? Because we're having a lot of misinterpretation of information. And the agitation is actually not to fight against the system or to unseat any person in power. It is to agitate to say we need reformed Nigerian police force. We are also agitating for these people, because if they get well paid, they won't pass their frustration on the masses. And now some of us have decided to say, we have sat down and looked at this critically. 2 years has impacted the system somehow. Now you see the police, they are cautious of the way they talk to you. When you go to the police station, people are cautious. Nigerians are beginning to get cautious to say, okay, if anything happens, I'm going to use my phone and stuff like that. So everybody is adjusting. But yeah, 100% are we there? Not yet. So okay. We need to, use all the methods that we have. And my solution is there has to be a closure.
So how do we achieve that? Are you advocating for a kind of truth and reconciliation committee? Are you advocating for what precisely?
Okay, we are asking for a kind of truth and reconciliation committee. We have a lot of Nigerian youth representatives that even also came out today, and I saw the way they engaged the police. I saw the way Macaroni engaged the police. He was asked to coordinate. I saw the way Fowles also engaged the police. They were asked to coordinate, and the beginning was beautiful, but somewhere along the line something went off balance, which is still not supposed to be. But the initial engagement, the first engagement, shows that we are progressing. Before, we couldn't even have achieved that. Okay, some things happened during the week, and we had to even go and see our own state governor to say, sir, we want to have this event. It is not to cause any kind of obstruction. And they listened to us, and they gave us that privilege to do so, and gave us the support to say, okay, you guys go ahead. We will ensure that nothing goes wrong. We will ensure that the police are also calm with you guys. And even when people were arrested, we had to call the office of the commissioner to say people were arrested, and he kept calling and saying, we are ensuring, we are on it. He was calling me per minute. Those are it. Nobody's demon.
Okay, so Dabira, what do you make of what happened this morning at the Lekki toll gate, where you had, policemen, firing tear gas into the air, using, all sorts of things to disperse peaceful protesters?
And those are the reason why we are still here. Like I said, the beginning was a very beautiful ride, and somewhere along the line, those factors we are fighting against still, crept into the system, into the movement, and it's still gingering anger in the mind of some people. And that is why somebody like me, I'm saying we need to have a closure. We need to have a judicial team of people that advocate between the masses and the Nigerian police or the government.
And you think that will not go the way of the judicial panel of inquiry?
No, it will not go the way of the judicial panel. That was a panel to investigate.
Okay.
This is maybe an advocating team from the masses and also from the Nigerian police for that reaches a balance. There has to be a check meeting maybe periodically, every 3 months. There should be a check meeting to say what are the feedbacks from the grassroots and what are the police saying, so that we don't pass wrong energy when we see police on the road. We think, oh, they are going to beat me and arrest me, I have to retaliate. We have seen videos of people suffering because they are afraid of the police, and we are not supposed to be in that kind of society. We have to fix our country. We, the youth, have to get involved. We have to get involved in politics. We can't fix this country on the fence.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dabira. You listen to her. She insisting that we cannot fix this country on the fence, and the youth want a kind of peace and reconciliation committee to be set up by the government to bring a foreclosure to the ENDSARS agitation that started several years ago but came to a crescendo 2 years back, and which of course signposts what we are celebrating or what we are seeing today across Lagos and in several other parts of the country.
Right. First of all, I want to commend your work today and the work of the rest of our other journalists who have been on the front lines trying to get us the accurate story. So well done on that. Regarding the venue where you are now, I know they're talking about peace and reconciliation and definitely turning the page and moving forward. Are there any representatives of the Lagos State government in attendance at this get-together here at the Havila Center? Have you seen any of them or anyone who was involved with the panel of inquiry, anyone from the other side other than those who were directly affected by the Lekki protests themselves?
Yes, when I came in, I went to the front to see if I could, cite anyone in uniform, in police uniform, to represent the police, at a gathering like this. But unfortunately, I did not see anyone here representing the police or representing the government. This is like an exclusive event for youth, for victims of the SARS unit of the Nigerian police. One would have expected that this kind of symposium, we have stakeholders from across, board, to come to the table and, take a look at what transpired on October 20, 2020, and even the days before and days after. But unfortunately, it seems like the youth or the victims of police brutality, and particularly of the violence of October 20, 2020, are the one commemorating this day. There have not been too much, so much from the government, from the police, or from other stakeholders. Those who bear the wounds, those who bear the wounds are the ones, commemorating this day. I saw the young man whose right leg was amputated after the ENDSARS violence there. He's wearing a prosthetic leg. I saw him a moment ago, walking out of the auditorium. We have a number of similar people here, sharing their pains with the opportunity, with the advantage of insight right now. So maybe subsequently, like Dabira, suggested, perhaps the government will give them a listening ear and set up a peace and reconciliation committee so that the healing process will begin properly. But as it is, I can still feel the pains of some of these people, thinking or feeling that the government really cares little or nothing about them, that since that October 20, 2020, nothing much has been heard or seen to have been done by the government beyond series of denials. So one will expect that going from this point, representatives of the government, representative of the police, and other stakeholders will invite some of these young Nigerians to a table officially and try to review what really transpired, and if it is possible, apologize for where you have gone wrong, and let us start on a very, fresh note. And we are waiting to see that.
Well, Oba, you've said so much and you've really said a lot, but what is the likelihood of that happening in Nigeria of today?
Sadly, all the politicians are busy with the 2023 elections. And, today I only saw the presidential candidate of the African Action Congress, that's the AAC, Omoyele Sowore, trying to identify with the young Nigerians at the Lekki toll gate. I wouldn't know what other candidates are doing in other parts of the country. So right now it seems like all the politicians, the people in government are busy, with the 2023 elections. They are busy campaigning for that elections, and little or nothing really has been seen. They have not really been seen doing much as regards the commemoration of the ENDSARS. And the government is still insisting. The government still stays on that narrative that nobody actually died during the ENDSARS protest. And just this afternoon, I spoke with the mother of one of the young men that were gunned down at the Lekki toll gate, and she told us that up till date she hasn't been able to locate the body of her son. She's still grieving as we speak. I asked her what brought her to that spot, and she said she needed to come there to come and see the spot where her son was gunned down. It was such a very emotional thing for for people to hear. So going back to your question, we still expect that people in government will expect that even the police will expect that even authorities, all the stakeholders in this ENDSARS thing will come together and try to bring a foreclosure to this by identifying with the victims of SARS brutality, police brutality generally, and particularly those who were brutalized or killed as as alleged by the soldiers during the protests in 2020.
Well, Arise News correspondent Oba Adeoye, thank you so much for your time and for joining us this afternoon on Newsday.